Yes.
OT.
And speaking of basketball, that's where we're going to go on this final topic of the night, Steph Curry. And we talked about a little bit, if you weren't listening earlier, with Antonio Daniels about Steph Curry saying that if the Warriors become bottom feeders, maybe he'll move on. And Rob G., he was talking to Mark Spears from ESPN and Anscape, right?
Friend of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark is someone I helped mentor when he first started, if you could believe that in his career. Crazy. But anyway, you have the quotes, Rob G.
Yeah, so Mark spoke to him about a long-form piece, and during the conversation, he asked Steph, he said, hey, you saw the type of lackluster teams that Kobe and Dirk had at the end of their careers. Should we be assumed that you'd be fine with just anyone during the rest of your career playing solely for the Warriors? And Steph started out like you'd expect. He said, hey, at this stage in my career, I always felt like it was possible to be a Warrior for life. And he goes on, and then he says, this is where he kind of puts his foot in his mouth. I'll continue to make the decisions that are best for me and for my career at the end of the day when it comes to just the imagination. I want to win. Let's put it this way. It's a long-winded way of saying that if it is a situation where you're a bottom feeder and it's just because you want to stay there, I'd have a hard time with that, but I don't think that's going to be the reality.
Wow.
I just, Andy, I'll say this. And I'm not saying, if you remember the end of Kobe's career, Rob G., correct me if I'm wrong. The Lakers didn't make the playoffs his last 5 years. Is that correct? It's like 5 or 6 years, Andy. The last. They didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Part of it was people didn't want to come play with Kobe. Nobody ever wants to talk about it. Rob G., am I speaking out of turn?
No, not necessarily, no.
Nobody wanted to come play with him. Dwight Howard, Andy, left $30 million on the table to go to Houston to get away from Kobe. You think he wants that money now? $30 million to leave L.A. And my point here is, it's okay that you're not title contenders, or you don't have a maybe all the way legitimate shot to win. I don't understand it. Derek Jeter played 20 full seasons for the New York Yankees. Their last championship was 2009, Andy. He retired in 2014. 5 years. They didn't win.
Right.
Is it the end of the – do you look at Derek Jeter and oh, my God, the last 5 years he didn't win. Kobe, the last 5 or 6 years, didn't make the playoffs. Do you think there's still people who tell you Kobe's the GOAT? He's better than Michael and LeBron. They don't say, well, he didn't even make the playoffs the last 5 years.
But things change. And let me give an example. I can switch sports for a second. Things change because people are worried about, athletes are worried about their legacy. When they retire, their last stop. What would I like? All right? I'll give you an example in football. Dan Marino and Eli Manning. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Dan Marino never won any. But the way they worship Eli Manning right now, Eli Manning couldn't shine Dan Marino's shoes.
If you ask most people who's a better quarterback, 99% will say Dan Marino, okay? And I get it.
I would hope. I would hope so.
They would, 99.
Dan Marino is the godfather of the forward pass in the National Football League.
There's no doubt about it. And so I get that. But there were people, even without a championship for Dan Marino, were saying that he was their GOAT. He was the most prolific. This guy was unbelievable. His second year, they went to the Super Bowl. He threw 50 touchdowns. This isn't like now where they throwing every down, Andy.
Right.
This was a different brand of football.
Right.
He was that great, okay? But it doesn't negate how great Dan Marino was. And Steph won 4 championships, correct? That you can't take that away from him, even if he finishes out his career and the last 4 years the Warriors don't win. I just don't understand that. If he goes to another team and they don't win the last 4 years, what does that mean? Does that change does that change anything? If he were to go to the Lakers and then they don't win a championship for 4 years.
I'm trying to go back in history and look back in history and maybe things
Michael
have stayed
Jordan
the same.
went to Washington. They didn't make the playoffs his last 2 years.
You're right. But you know what? Maybe the more things change, maybe the more they stay the same. I'll give you an example. I'm going way back in time because I love basketball, and I'll go back to the days when Bill Russell played against Will Chamberlain. Will Chamberlain is never considered, when they talk about the greatest players of all time in the NBA, his name is never mentioned. Never mentioned. Guy averaged 50 points a game one year. All right? Wilt Chamberlain may have been the most dominant player ever to put on a uniform in the NBA. Never mentioned. Why? Because how many championships did he win? In 67, he won a championship with the 76ers. Right? I mean, other than that, he was dominated all the time by Bill Russell. And Bill Russell, to me, was a great player, but it's almost like what we talked about with the San Francisco 49ers. He had great thoroughbreds with him on that team. He had the Jones boys. He had all those guys, Casey and Sam Jones. He had Jim Luskatoff. He had Tommy Heinsohn. You name him, he had him on. Tom Sanders. They had great players on those Celtic teams. You know, maybe Chamberlain didn't. But to me, Chamberlain was dominant, and if they ever have a Mount Rushmore in the NBA, he has to be on that mountain.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened here. My phone just slipped up. Andy, that was crazy. There's no doubt. But I do think that people are so caught up in this thing. Like it's a birthright. Like you have to be in the mix or the hunt. That's what you seen LeBron James destroy franchises by giving up young players, right? Because he's got to be in the mix. That hasn't helped LeBron. They've made all the moves. He still has his 4 championships, right? He's about to play season number 20. LeBron could play 24 seasons. If he doesn't win, how does that? He won his 4 championships. He's the leading scorer of all time. What are you going to take away from him?
I don't know, but I think it's what you remember him by when he ends his career, when one ends a career.
Michael Jordan ended his career on a sad note, going to the hapless Washington Wizards.
He still averaged 20 a game.
I know, but they didn't even make half the league makes the playoffs, Andy.
Right.
And a team, Michael Jordan and 4 other guys couldn't make the playoffs.
No,
Think about that.
Right. But he had a burning desire that many of these players don't have. And I'll give you an example. We talk about the contracts that people in the NFL right now, they're sitting out. They want more money. To me, it tells me they'd rather have money more so than championships. I don't know if it's the ego because player X on one team at the same position makes more money than he does. That's why they want the money. I don't know. But to me, back in the day, it was all about winning. You sacrificed the paycheck maybe for a championship. You know who did that? Tom Brady. Tom Brady did it, didn't he? He sacrificed his salary.
But
really?
The only thing I'm going to do, I
know you're not a Brady guy. I'm sorry.
I hear that all the time, but here's my thing. His wife, A, made more money than him.
It doesn't make a difference. He did it, but he did it.
B, the Patriots didn't use the money for players. The reason people celebrate Tom Brady is that he didn't have anybody to throw to, that the guy was working at Dunkin' Donuts and then he became a receiver for the Patriots. They let all the great defensive players that helped them win those championships go without getting paid. Right. Tom Brady didn't help those teammates by doing that. Go look at the Patriots. For the last decade, they spent less money with free agents and whatnot than any other team. So he saved them money and they didn't spend it. That's why I can't laud that, because they didn't do right by Tom Brady by him saving them money. My point, though, is still Steph Curry would be crazy to leave the Warriors. His legacy is about his longevity there, what he was able to do, the championships, what he means to the city. Why put on some other team's uniform? He doesn't need to do that. Derek Jeter didn't do it. Tom Brady should have stayed in New England his whole career. He didn't need to do that, even though he wound up getting that other championship with Tampa Bay. Tom Brady's one of those guys. Dirk Nowitzki, what he played 21 years in Dallas. I think that's stronger. That tells me a lot about a player.
But we've seen that. Look,
but Steph Curry's one of those iconic players that shouldn't just be hopping around. You brought up Kevin Durant earlier. Kevin Durant's a nomad. I mean, think about it. Kevin Durant could go into the Hall of Fame. If they had to put a uniform on him, they would have to put him in rags because there's too many different colors and different teams.
No, you're exactly right. But the point is it happened. What about Joe Montana? How many people remember the fact that he ended his career in Kansas City?
I get that, and that wasn't his choice, though, is what I'm saying.
But he could have said... But he could have packed in and say, look, I'm not going anywhere else. If that's the way you want it, I'm going to end my career right here.
But he also played and helped him get to the AFC Championship game. So he still had something in the tank. It's just that they had other quarterbacks who were ready to play, and I get that. But if you remember, Jackie Robinson
No
was
doubt.
traded to the
Giants, and he refused. He refused
and
to go.
he retired.
Right.
He didn't
And by
want
the
to
way,
wear anybody else's uniform, right?
His wife Rachel turned 102 on Sunday.
She's unbelievable, and she looks
Yes.
spectacular.
She's great. She's great. She looks like
No
she's
doubt.
50.
And the question is simple. Do you want to see Steph Curry leave the Warriors and go ring chasing to end his career? And I know, Andy, people want to talk about Steph Curry and the Warriors.
They sure do. And one of them is MJ. MJ in New Orleans, you're on The Odd Couple. What do you got?
Perfect TV theme show Thursday. What's up, Professor Rob and Andy?
What's
Filling in for
happening?
Chris. I know
Yes.
Chris is out on the Magic Johnson couple's yacht vacation, right?
That's right. There you go. He's that lucky.
Professor Rob, as you often say, you can't have it both ways. The Warriors have benefited building a new facility and moving to San Francisco. Wardell Stephen Curry Jr. helped put 4 Bill Russell trophies in their trophy case. It's not his birthright, but sports is entertainment, and I believe it's quid pro quo. You do something for me, I do something for you. Golden State is somewhat in a rebuild if you kind of look at it. They're trying to catch up because when Myers was there, they were playing for the present and playing for the future. We saw that didn't work out. It's not a birthright, but it's his right based upon the blood, sweat, and tears that he's given. That
But there's no, but MJ, there's no guarantee you could go somewhere else and win. And that's the point. Kevin Durant is a vagabond. I mean, that's what he's done.
Right. This isn't 25 years ago where John Stockton stays with the team forever, or Michael Jordan stayed with the team, or Kobe stayed with the team, and then, Jordan moved on because of the business aspect. Sports is entertainment. It's not about loyalty. Teams show you every day. Ask Saquon Barkley about loyalty.
No, it ain't about loyalty, but it's about his own legacy to wear one uniform, be in the place that's synonymous with Steph, rather than going to play for some franchise who really he has no connection to. I just hate to see guys who have put in that long of a career. We're not talking about your first chance at free agency or what Saquon Barkley, he played for the Giants for 5 years, 6 years. He didn't play 15 years, and then the Giants did him dirty at the end. I'm talking about Steph Curry, who's a made man, no matter whether he wins again or not. Those are the kind of guys. I'm talking about a Brady and a Derek Jeter and players of that ilk who've played a long time in one place. So,
But MJ, you
mentioned
mentioned that sports is entertainment. It's always been entertainment. So what's changed? What has made the athlete different today than yesteryear? Sports has always been entertainment, right? What's changed about it? I don't know.
Nothing.
Right? Kevin from Culver City. You're on The Odd Couple. What do you got?
God is good.
all the time, my man.
What's up, fellas? Andy Furman, you got a legend on the radio with you, Bob. I love hearing you two together. Don't think you miss a beat when Chris isn't in. It's good to hear good sports talk commentary, Cincinnati's finest.
Thank you, no doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get into this. Look, Stephen Curry is a Hall of Fame player. He's just showing some of his leverage. Now, there's no secret that the Warriors have been in on Lauri Markkanen, and Utah might want Braden Stefanski and some other young players. And Steph is just look, if you're not going to put it on in the barrel, and you're going to keep certain guys, and you're going to rebuild here, then maybe I should go somewhere else. Basically saying, do everything you can to get that superstar player there to compete, because I want to compete. My backcourt mate, Klay Thompson, just left. What are we doing? What's going on here? What are we trying to do here? And he could go somewhere and do a Victor Wembanyama and maybe win a couple championships with him and Greg Popovich. He could go to Milwaukee if they want to do a swap for Damian
He could also
Lillard.
go somewhere and not win. We saw Scottie Pippen go to Houston and go to Portland. We saw Charles Barkley go to the Suns and go to Portland. This has happened before, and it doesn't guarantee you win anything.
And he may be saying this, as you mentioned there, Kev. He mentioned the fact that his teammate Klay Thompson's gone. I think that was a big slap to him. I mean, that woke him up a little bit. He wasn't happy with that.
And he won championships with that guy. And he's just like, hey, are we going to compete here? Are we going to try to win a championship here? Or are we going to try to just keep some of our young players? If you could get a guy like Lauri Markkanen, let's get him, because I want to win my last 3 or 4 years in this league.
Good
and
luck.
I'm pretty sure pretty sure playing with Anthony Edwards.
And he could go somewhere else, and there's no guarantee he's going to win. And when Klay Thompson doesn't win in Dallas, people won't remember those 4 years or 3 years that he played there. They won't. It'll just be he got his feelings hurt because they didn't want to max him out, and they're not going to max out a guy who's been injured as he has and hasn't played as well.
They have the old vagabond team. The old vagabond team headed by Kevin Durant. James Harden's on that team as well. The old vagabond team.
No
right?
doubt. 877-99 on Fox.
Gene the Machine in Memphis. You're on the Odd Couple. What do you got, Gene?
Yeah, you got that right, Gene Machine. That is me.
Gene the Dancing Machine.
No, wait,
yes,
there was a
that.
Gene. There was an original Gene the Machine Mumford from Brooklyn. He played at University of Scranton. A hell of a basketball player. Gene Mumford.
I can dance too. But listen, man, I want to real quick. I think Steph needs to stay in Golden State because he's synonymous with that team. He's like the Rick Barry of his time, when Rick Barry was playing. He's like that, man. So he needs to stay there, but as long as Golden State is competitive and putting out a good good team around him, I think he should stay in Golden State and retire.
100%. I'm with you there.
And then, Rob, I wish you come on to Memphis, man. I'm at Big Bill's Barbecue. I got a sandwich with your name on it, rib chips, bologna, whatever you want, baby. I'm waiting on you. Come on to Memphis, man.
I got to come to Memphis. You know what? I'm going to come to Memphis this year. I'm going to look at the schedule. I'm going to fly in on a Saturday, and I'm going to take you up on that. All right? Make sure you're listening.
Bill's Barbecue, Elvis Presley, right down from Bracelet, man. Come on, baby. And we're on Urban Parkway, too. I got you.
All right, I'm coming. I'm coming to Memphis this basketball season. Absolutely, no doubt about it. All right, coming up next.
1 second. Are you putting Chris Paul on that team, too, the Vagabond team?
Yeah, he's been all over. Yeah,
there you go, Chris Paul. There you go.
But in his case, it ain't like Steph, who has a legacy in Golden State and
Right.
only played at one team, so he's different. Now let's make way for Antonio Daniels, and this is the Odd Couple coming to you live from the TireRack.com studios. Of course, he's an NBA champ, Sirius XM NBA radio host, New Orleans Pelicans color analyst, and a Fox Sports Radio NBA analyst. He has more jobs than I have, Mr. Antonio Daniels. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Rob? What's up, Andy? How you guys doing today?
How you doing, AD?
We're doing great.
It's the real
Rob,
AD.
Can I answer Andy's question really quick?
Yes.
Because there are a very, very small amount of people that can do what the guys that are holding out for contracts can do.
Very few could do what Rob Parker could do, too, though.
No, way more. And you know what's funny? You say that, Andy, and let's not get off to a tangent. But Antonio, you know this because you're in the media business as well. And I try to tell this to players sometimes. If there are 400 NBA jobs, 450 NBA jobs,
right,
and you're a newspaper columnist in Detroit, how many people? So in the NBA, there are 15 jobs on the Pistons. How many newspaper columnist jobs are there in that same city? Do you know?
2.
No.
So there would be 2 at each paper. 4 people have that job compared to 15 players who are on an NBA roster. That's how hard it is to get a newspaper columnist job or to be a radio talk show host in a major city.
I'm not tripping on, and I don't.
No.
Like,
but
now,
I'm just trying to say the numbers. Does that make sense to you? Like,
Yeah,
only
but it's even
4
harder to
people.
But it's even harder to find the
it's
newspaper now.
Right. No. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, there's context to all numbers, but it's 450 NBA jobs, and by mathematics, that's 60 or 90, depending on the market, or maybe 120 beat writer jobs within the NBA. And I don't mean this in a disrespect. I can be replaced.
Oh yeah,
I can be replaced.
You know who should be replaced?
I can be replaced. No matter how good they tell me I am, I can be replaced. When you have Dak Prescott, those guys that are holding up, it's not easy to replace those guys.
Okay, but you know what?
I do
AD?
not disagree.
You know who should be replaced? Joel Embiid should be replaced on the Olympic team. That's the guy who should be replaced.
Well, you know what? Okay, now let's go there. Because, and we talked about this on my SiriusXM show today. And it's no disrespect to Joel Embiid, but Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo are a better fit for Team USA on both sides of the ball because of the Euro style of play, right? They both give you defensive versatility, switchability, and they run. With Joel Embiid, you got to slow the game down and throw the ball into him. And when there's no illegal defense, you can see it's like college. You can stick guys in the paint.
But let me push back. Joel Embiid, style or no style, the U.S. is still strong enough and should win. It shouldn't matter that much. I get what you're saying, and if you were picking a team and trying to play a certain style and all that, but the talent on the USA team, if they lose, it's a failure. They're better. They got all these great players. They should be able to win no matter what. And for Joel Embiid to pick the U.S., right? He could have played, I think, for 3 different countries, right?
Hold on, Rob. Let me ask you a question. Andy, let me pose a question to both you guys. Because every time Steve Kerr has mentioned LeBron James and Steph Curry in the starting lineup, he automatically throws Joel Embiid there as well. Automatically. Like, he doesn't say, like, it's LeBron and Steph and everybody else, I'm going to keep on moving them around. Nope. It's LeBron, Steph, Joel Embiid. You say that he picked America over 2 other countries. The question that I have was a starting spot promised to Joel Embiid if he joined Team USA?
That's what it sounds like.
It does.
It does, and I think you're right. Because if you were going off of merit or match or fit or whatever, Antonio, it definitely would not be there.
Right. Right.
I want to ask you something. We're going to talk about this later on, but I want to get your take on it as well in the 6 o'clock hour, 9 o'clock hour Eastern. Steph Curry basically saying if the Warriors become bottom feeders, he wants out or he'll move on or whatever. Where are you on that? I mean, they did a lot to make sure that Steph Curry had a chance to win a lot. They went out and got players. They paid heavy luxury tax. They did everything to help him have a chance to win. Does he have to leave Golden State or San Francisco to feel good about his career, even if they don't win his last 3 or 4 years?
No, but I think the thing is, I don't think it's about him feeling good about his career. I mean, like, think about the way Kobe went out. Think about that. The way Kobe Bryant went out in the last few years with the Lakers. Like, I get it. For me, I love the swan song with the same team that you've been with for your entire career. You know, the Tim Duncan, the Dirk Nowitzki, you know, the Kobe Bryant.
Derek Jeter played 20 years with the Yankees the entire time. He could have definitely left.
I love that. I love that. Do we really want to remember, like, Hakeem Olajuwon playing with Toronto or Patrick Ewing playing with
Orlando?
Orlando, or Michael Jordan playing with. We don't want to remember that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem. Like, I understand what Steph Curry's saying because now there's so much media talk about legacy, you know, and winning championships. And when you're playing and your peers that you're playing with, everybody's in the championship fast lane except you. It's a ego thing. It's an ego game. Like, look,
it isn't a birthright. This is what I respect about Michael Jordan. He went to the Chicago Bulls. For people who don't know, the Bulls were a terrible franchise, okay?
For sure.
Terrible. He went there because they drafted him. He didn't threaten that I'm going to leave. He didn't go join to get somebody else to come. These are the players.
That's a different generation as well, though, Rob.
No, I get it.
Empowerment then wasn't the same as it is now.
But I don't understand the birthright that you have a right to play for something your entire career. Says who?
Okay, play for what your entire career? Like playing to win?
You got to be in the mix for the championship. No, you don't.
Well, I don't think that's a birthright thing. I think that's a competitive nature thing. I don't think that's a birthright thing. I think that's a competitive. When is the last time that you've seen like a big time free agent leave and go to a situation where he was going to be a bottom feeder?
No, I get that. You're not going to go to a bottom feeder. But I'm talking about if you were at a franchise and you made your name and career there, it's okay. Dirk Nowitzki played, 21 seasons in Dallas? He won 1 championship. Okay. He had a great career there. People will never forget that championship and what he was able to do. I don't think that's a bad career.
You know, I tell you what I always find interesting. Like, when we talk about this generation, it's like if they're damned either way. Because if Steph Curry stays and Golden State becomes a bottom feeder, now half of media members are talking about how he's lost his competitive nature. Michael Jordan would never do that. He doesn't have a Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality, is what everybody would say. And basically what he's saying is, I want to continue to stay competitive, and as opposed to praising him from his competitive nature, we're basically saying that we're taking the wrong view for that, in my opinion. I feel like when you are great, like Steph Curry is great, and he still has something in his tank, we see it all the time. There's nothing wrong with saying, I want to continue to put myself in a position to win. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah, but you know what?
A
lot of guys try to do that and they can't. Kevin Durant, he's an example. He was in
bouncing
Oklahoma
around
City.
now.
He bounced around. He still can't win. He can't win. He went Brooklyn, Oklahoma City, Golden State. He can't. Phoenix. He still can't win. He's trying to latch on to something.
That doesn't look good either.
But he's a great player, though.
But I mean, for me, I told you guys this a few weeks back, Rob. Big threes and bringing stars together in today's NBA doesn't work for me. That doesn't work. Like you saw Brooklyn try it, and you saw Phoenix try it. You know, you're seeing Philadelphia try it now. You saw the Clippers try it. It does not work. You know, you see teams on the right trajectory that are doing it the right way, that are drafting well, that are developing their talent, and then you're adding in role players like Daniel Gafford, role players like P.J. Washington, those kind of guys. You know, Oklahoma City adding Alex Caruso. Everybody nowadays wants to go big game hunting and just add stars on top of stars on top of stars. And as we've seen, outside of Kevin Durant joining the Golden State Warriors and LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh joining together, when else has it worked?
Right. It really hasn't. The percentage is definitely the other way. Last thing, the U.S. Men's team win gold? And if they don't win gold, how bad will it be?
Well, I think it'll be pretty bad if they don't win gold. Because when they didn't medal last summer, our argument was, well, you know what? It don't matter because that's not our best. Right? You have role players. You know, you had a couple stars. You had B.I., you had Brunson. You know, you had those guys, but you didn't have the stars. LeBron wasn't there. KD wasn't there. Steph wasn't there. So, all right, I get it. Now, if they come here and they lose, yeah, it's going to be some conversations to be had.
Is Steve Kerr the right guy?
You ain't dodging those allegations.
But is Steve Kerr the right guy to coach? Is he the man?
Yeah, why not?
I'm just asking.
Why not? I mean, like, my question would be, if not Steve Kerr, who else?
Right. All right. Okay. There he goes. Our man, Antonio Daniels, always, man. Thanks for the insight. Thanks for the glib conversation. We appreciate you.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Like that.